Dr. Alan Wright wiped sweat from his forehead as the Indonesian sun beat down on Komodo Island. He had spent the last 3 years studying the world's largest lizards, and today was like any other day. Or so he thought. Alan adjusted his camera, trapped near a watering hole popular with the island's wildlife. These devices helped him track the movements and behavior patterns of the giant lizards without disturbing them. He checked his watch, 10:30 a.m. The dragons would be active now, their cold-blooded bodies warmed by the morning sun. A flash of light caught his eye. At first he thought it was just sunlight reflecting off his equipment, but then it happened again. This time it came from the sky. Alan looked up and froze. A silver disk, about the size of a small bus, hovered above the clearing. It made no sound as it descended slowly, landing gently on the grass about 50 yards from where he stood. The metal surface of the craft shimmered under the tropical sun. This can't be happening, Alan whispered to himself, his knuckles white as he gripped his camera. A seam appeared in the side of the craft, and a ramp extended to the ground. 3 figures emerged. They were tall and thin, with blue skin that seemed to shimmer like the surface of their ship. Each had 4 eyes, 2 large ones in the normal position, and 2 smaller ones above them. Their limbs were long and delicate, and they wore what looked like silver jumpsuits. Alan stood rooted, to the spot. His mind raced through all possible explanations. A hallucination from heat stroke, an elaborate prank, a secret military test. But deep down, he knew what he was seeing. The aliens approached slowly, their movements graceful and deliberate. The one in front raised a hand in what appeared to be a greeting. "We come in peace, human of Earth," the alien said in perfect English, though its mouth didn't move in sync with the words. "I am Ambassador Kroll of the Zeltari Confederation." Alan swallowed hard. "I'm Dr. Alan Wright," he managed to say. How do you speak English?" "We have observed your world for many cycles," Ambassador Kroll explained. "Our translation devices analyze and reproduce your languages. We have studied Earth extensively from orbit, particularly its fascinating wildlife." The alien to Kroll's right stepped forward. "I am Science Officer Vex. Your reptiles are of special interest to us." Its voice was higher, almost musical. "On our world, scaled creatures never evolved beyond small, harmless animals. The large specimens on your planet are remarkable, though primitive." Alan found himself slipping into scientist mode despite the extraordinary situation. "The Komodo dragons I study are far from primitive. They're complex apex predators with sophisticated hunting strategies." The third alien, who stood slightly behind the others, made a sound that might have been a laugh. "Our scans indicate Earth reptiles have small brains and slow metabolisms. They pose no danger to advanced beings." Ambassador Kroll gestured at the third alien. "This is Security Officer Maz. Please forgive his directness. We would be most interested in observing these Komodo dragons with you." Alan's satellite phone rang, breaking the moment. He answered it with shaking hands. "Alan? It's Sam. Are you seeing this?" The voice of Samantha Kelly, NASA's regional coordinator, came through clearly. "Our satellites picked up an unidentified craft landing on Komodo. Military jets are scrambling." "They're here, Sam," Alan said quietly. "I'm looking at them right now. 3 aliens. They call themselves the Zeltari. They seem peaceful." There was silence on the other end, then, "Stay put, don't do anything rash. Greg and I are on our way with a response. Team, we'll be there in 3 hours." After the call ended, Alan turned back to the aliens. "More humans are coming to meet you. They're scientists and government representatives." Ambassador Kroll bowed slightly. "Excellent. While we wait, perhaps you could tell us about these dragon creatures you study." Inside his research station, a simple wooden building with solar panels and basic equipment, Alan showed the aliens his research. The Zeltari moved around with curious grace, examining everything. "Your data suggests these creatures can run short distances at speeds up to 12 miles per hour, Science Officer Vex noted, looking at Alan's charts. "Surely this is an error. Our studies indicate Earth reptiles move slowly." "No error," Alan said firmly. Komodo dragons can burst into incredible speed when hunting or threatened. They may look lazy when resting, but they're lightning fast when motivated. Their bite is loaded with bacteria that can kill prey that escapes the initial attack. Security Officer Maz made that strange laughing sound again. Bacteria? Primitive biological weapons at best, and short bursts of speed are hardly impressive. Our studies clearly show reptiles are the least threatening vertebrates on your planet. Alan frowned. You've been studying Earth, but have never actually been here, right? You might find our reptiles surprising. We have extensive orbital scans, Ambassador Kroll said dismissively. Our technology allows detailed biological assessment without direct contact. Technology isn't the same as experience, Alan replied. 3 hours later, a helicopter landed in the clearing next to the alien craft. Samantha Kelly stepped out first, a tall woman with short brown hair and the confident bearing of someone used to handling crises. Behind her came Greg Porter, a stocky man with graying hair who represented the State Department. Sam approached carefully, raising a hand in greeting, similar to how Ambassador Kroll had done earlier. I'm Samantha Kelly, NASA Special Representative. This is Greg Porter from the State Department. Ambassador Kroll repeated his introduction. We have chosen this time to initiate formal contact with Earth. Our Confederation has determined your civilization has reached sufficient maturity for direct interaction. That's quite an honor, Greg said, sounding only slightly strangled. May I ask why you landed here of all places? We are particularly interested in Earth's biodiversity, Science Officer Vex explained, especially your reptilian species, which evolved differently than on our world. Dr. Wright's research facility provided an ideal location to begin our studies. Sam and Greg exchanged glances. Well, Sam said carefully, Dr. Wright is indeed one of our leading experts on Komodo dragons. We wish to observe these creatures in their natural habitat, Ambassador Kroll announced. Dr. Wright has agreed to guide us. Alan raised his eyebrows. I haven't actually. It would be valuable to both our species, Kroll continued, and would form a foundation for scientific exchange. Greg pulled Alan and Sam aside. This is unprecedented, he whispered. First contact and they want to go dragon watching? It could be worse, Sam whispered back. At least they're scientists, not invaders. Alan nodded slowly. I can take them out tomorrow morning when the dragons are active. But they keep underestimating these animals. They think Earth reptiles are harmless, slow creatures. Greg smiled, thinly. Maybe seeing is believing even for aliens. As the sun set over Komodo Island, the humans and aliens made plans for the next day's expedition. No one knew that their assumptions about each other, and about the island's ancient predators, would soon be dramatically challenged. The sun rose over Komodo Island, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. Dr. Alan Wright woke early, checking his equipment with more care than usual. Today's expedition would be unlike any other in human history. A dragon-watching trip with alien visitors. Alan met Samantha, Greg, and the 3 Zeltari aliens at the edge of the forest. The morning was already hot and humid, typical for the Indonesian island. We should review safety procedures, Alan said, unpacking protective gear from his backpack. He handed thick walking sticks to Sam and Greg. These can be used to keep dragons at a distance if needed. Ambassador Kroll watched with his 4 eyes all blinking at different times. You speak of these creatures as if they are dangerous. They are dangerous, Alan said firmly. Komodo dragons are predators. They can weigh up to 200 pounds and have powerful jaws. Their saliva contains bacteria that can cause deadly infections. Security Officer Maz made that strange sound that Alan now recognized as laughter. Our protective suits can withstand extreme environments and resist any primitive bacteria. Your concern is unnecessary. Sam stepped forward. With all respect, Officer Maz, you've never encountered these animals before. We strongly recommend caution. Science Officer Vex was scanning the forest with a small silver device. Our biological studies indicate Earth reptiles have limited neural capacity and slow reaction times. They pose minimal threat to species with our reflexes. Alan sighed. I've worked with these animals for years. They're faster and smarter than you think. They can run up to 12 miles per hour in short bursts. Ambassador Kroll waved a long, thin hand dismissively. A mere 12 miles per hour. Our younglings can move faster. Greg caught Alan's eye and shrugged. There was no convincing them. Let's at least stay together and follow my lead, Alan said, starting down the narrow trail that led into the forest. The forest was alive with sounds and smells. Birds called from the canopy and insects buzzed in the undergrowth. The Zeltari seemed fascinated by everything, stopping to scan plants and small creatures with their devices. Your planet has remarkable biodiversity, Science Officer Vex said, analyzing a small lizard that scurried across the path. On our world, we have only 23 species of scaled creatures, all small, all harmless. Earth has over 10,000 reptile species, Alan explained, from tiny geckos to massive saltwater crocodiles that can grow over 20 feet long. The aliens exchanged looks that Alan couldn't interpret. After hiking for an hour, they reached a clearing, near a watering hole. Alan signaled for everyone to stop and be quiet. He pointed to the other side of the clearing, where a large male Komodo dragon was resting in a patch of sunlight. The lizard was nearly 9 feet long, its powerful body covered in rough, scaly skin. Impressive specimen, Alan whispered. Full-grown male, probably around 15 years old. The Zeltari observed the dragon with their scanning devices. Ambassador Kroll whispered to his companions, and they all made that strange laughing sound. What's so funny? Sam asked quietly. Our scans confirm what we expected, Security Officer Maz replied, not bothering to lower his voice. Its body temperature is low, its metabolism sluggish, and its brain activity minimal. A primitive creature indeed. The Komodo dragon's head turned slightly at the sound of Maz's voice. Please keep your voice down, Alan warned. They have excellent hearing. Ambassador Kroll stepped forward, moving past Alan toward the edge of the clearing. I wish to observe this specimen more closely. Alan grabbed the alien's arm. That's not safe. We should maintain our distance. Kroll gently but firmly removed Alan's hand. Your concern is appreciated but unnecessary. I will approach carefully to obtain better readings. Before anyone could stop him, Ambassador Kroll walked into the clearing. His silver scanning device extended before him. The Komodo dragon's head rose, its forked tongue flicking out to taste the air. Kroll, get back here now, Greg hissed. The ambassador ignored him, continuing forward with slow, deliberate steps. Fascinating creature, he murmured. Its thermal signature is unlike anything on our world. The dragon was fully alert now, its eyes fixed on the strange blue figure approaching it. Alan recognized the posture immediately, the slight tensing of the powerful hind legs, the way the head lowered slightly. Kroll, Alan shouted. It's going to charge! As if his words were a trigger, the Komodo dragon exploded into motion. One moment it was still. The next it was a blur of scales and muscle, racing across the clearing with shocking speed. Ambassador Kroll froze, clearly stunned by the sudden movement. The dragon covered the distance between them in seconds, its powerful legs driving it forward at full speed. Greg reacted instantly, sprinting forward and tackling the alien ambassador just as the dragon reached them. They tumbled to the side, the dragon's jaws snapping where Kroll had stood a split second before. But the enraged reptile wasn't done. It whipped around, its massive tail swinging like a wrecking ball. The tail caught Security Officer Maz across the chest, sending the alien flying backward into a tree. The impact made a sickening crack that could have been either the tree or the alien's body. Sam grabbed Alan's protective spray from his belt and rushed forward, discharging it directly into the dragon's face. The reptile hissed and backed away, shaking its head at the irritating chemicals. Get them out of here, Alan shouted, keeping his eyes on the retreating dragon. Back to the station now. Greg helped Ambassador Kroll to his feet. The alien was visibly shaken, his blue skin now pale and his 4 eyes wide with shock. Sam and Science Officer Vex ran to where Maz lay crumpled at the base of the tree. The security officer was breathing in short, painful gasps, his silver suit torn across the chest. He needs medical attention, Vex said, her voice trembling. His exoskeletal structure has been compromised in multiple locations. Together they lifted the injured alien. The Komodo dragon watched from a distance, its tongue flicking out to taste the strange scents in the air. The group retreated down the trail as quickly as they could manage while carrying the injured Zeltari. Ambassador Kroll seemed to be in a state of shock, repeating the same phrase over and over in his own language. "What's he saying?" Greg asked Science Officer Vex. "He is saying it moved so fast." Vex translated, her voice quiet. We did not believe your warnings." When they finally reached the research station, they carefully placed Officer Maz on a cot. His breathing was labored, and a strange, blue fluid leaked from his wounds. Science Officer Vex hurried to their spacecraft and returned with medical equipment. "I must stabilize him before we can transport him to our orbital facility," she explained, working quickly on her injured companion. Ambassador Kroll sat heavily in a chair, his long limbs trembling. He looked up at Alan with all four eyes. "We made a grave error in our assessment," he said slowly. "If your reptiles possess such capabilities, what else might we have misunderstood about your world?" Alan didn't answer. He was helping Sam clean a cut on Greg's arm from when he had tackled the ambassador. The room was silent except for the beeping of the alien medical equipment and Officer Maz's labored breathing. Outside, birds sang in the trees and insects buzzed in the heat, unaware that the balance of power in Earth's first contact with aliens had just shifted dramatically. News of the incident on Komodo Island spread quickly. By evening, military helicopters had arrived, setting up a perimeter around Alan's research station. Medical personnel examined Greg's cuts while government officials debriefed Sam about the encounter. Inside the alien spacecraft, Science Officer Vex worked desperately to save Security Officer Maz. The injured alien lay on a strange, glowing table as medical devices hummed and beeped around him. Ambassador Kroll sat outside the craft, speaking quietly into a small device. "Yes, High Commander, it is true. The reptile moved with incredible speed and force. Our assessment of Earth's fauna was significantly flawed." He paused, listening. "No, I do not recommend withdrawal. This information is too valuable. But we must adjust our approach and security measures immediately." In Washington, D.C., the President had convened an emergency meeting. Officials from NASA, the Pentagon, and the State Department gathered in the Situation Room, reviewing the limited information available about the Zeltari and the Komodo incident. "What's the status of the injured alien?" the President asked. NASA Director Dr. Paul Warren consulted his tablet. "Stable but critical. Their biology is very different from ours. The impact from the dragon's tail broke several of his, well, they're not exactly bones, more like flexible support structures. And there's another problem. Earth bacteria from the dragon have entered his system. They have no natural immunity to our microorganisms." "Could this turn into a diplomatic crisis?" the Secretary of State asked. "It already has," Dr. Warren replied, "but not necessarily a negative one. The aliens clearly underestimated Earth's wildlife. This might actually work in our favor during negotiations." Back on Komodo Island, a new group of Zeltari had arrived from their orbital station. These wore more substantial protective gear, full body suits with reinforced plating. They moved with cautious precision, scanning constantly for threats. Alan watched from the window of his research station as the new arrivals met with Ambassador Kroll. "They're definitely taking things more seriously now," he said to Sam. "Good," she replied, "though I feel bad for that security officer. He may have been arrogant, but he didn't deserve that." Greg joined them at the window, his arm freshly bandaged. "Word from Washington is that they want us to continue as liaisons. The President thinks having scientists rather than military personnel as the primary contacts will help maintain peaceful relations." A knock at the door made them all turn. Ambassador Kroll stood there, flanked by two of the new arrivals in their reinforced suits. "May we enter?" Kroll asked, his voice subdued. Alan nodded and stepped aside. "This is Medical Director Jean and Fleet Commander Varn," Kroll introduced his companions. "They have come to assess the situation personally." Fleet Commander Varn's voice was deep and resonated strangely through his protective helmet. "We apologize for the intrusion, but this incident has caused significant concern among our leadership. Our entire assessment of Earth's threat level may need revision." Sam straightened her shoulders. "Earth isn't a threat to you. We want peaceful relations." "Of course," Medical Director Jean said quickly. Her voice was softer than Varn's, but no less serious. "But we must understand the true nature of your world. Our preliminary studies clearly failed to capture the reality." Ambassador Kroll moved to a chair and sat down heavily. "How is Officer Maz?" Alan asked him. "Stabilized, but not well," Kroll replied. "The impact damaged his internal support structure, but the greater concern is contamination from your world's microorganisms. Our bodies have no defense against them." Greg winced. "I'm sorry to hear that. We should have been more insistent about the dangers." "No," Kroll said firmly. "The fault is ours. We were overconfident. We believed our technology gave us complete understanding. We were wrong." Fleet Commander Varn moved to the center of the room. "Our orbital scans classified Earth reptiles as the least threatening vertebrates on your planet due to their generally slow metabolism and limited neural capacity. If we were so wrong about them, what else have we misunderstood?" Alan thought for a moment. "Would it help if we arrange for you to observe more of Earth's wildlife? Under safer, controlled conditions?" Medical Director Jean turned all four of her eyes toward him. "That would be valuable, yes, but with significantly enhanced safety protocols." Sam's satellite phone rang. She answered, listened briefly, then looked up at the others. "The President wants to speak with the Zeltari leadership. They're setting up a secure video conference." 2 hours later, they gathered around a secure communication link established between Washington and the Zeltari orbital station. The President's face filled the screen, flanked by military and scientific advisors. "On behalf of the people of Earth, I extend our regrets regarding your injured officer," the President said formally. "We hope for his swift recovery." The face of the Zeltari High Commander appeared on the split screen. Unlike the other Zeltari, this one's skin was a deeper blue, almost purple, with elaborate markings around all four eyes. "We accept your concern, Earth Leader. This unfortunate incident has been educational. We had planned an extensive scientific mission to your world, but must now reassess our approach." The President nodded. "We welcome scientific exchange, but safety must be paramount. I understand there was some misconception about our wildlife?" Ambassador Kroll, standing just off camera, winced visibly. The High Commander's upper eyes narrowed slightly. "Our preliminary data was incomplete. If you agree, we propose a revised first contact protocol. We will establish a single, secure base of operations rather than the multiple research outposts originally planned." "That seems reasonable," the President replied. "Where did you have in mind?" "Your Nevada desert region. The sparse ecosystem there presents fewer biological variables." After the call ended, Fleet Commander Varn turned to Alan, Sam, and Greg. "We would like you three to continue assisting us. Your first-hand knowledge of Earth's ecosystems will be valuable." "Of course," Sam said, "but I'm curious, what did your original studies say about humans? Were we also underestimated?" The Zeltari exchanged glances. "Your species was classified as moderately concerning," Ambassador Kroll admitted. "Intelligent but physically unimpressive compared to other large mammals on your world," Greg laughed. "So basically you thought the reptiles were harmless and humans were just moderately concerning." Medical Director Jean made a gesture that might have been embarrassment. "We are accustomed to assessing threat levels based on our own evolutionary experience. On our world, intelligence evolved in tandem with physical fragility. The most intelligent species are the least physically capable." Alan shook his head. "Earth didn't work that way. Here, intelligence often evolved alongside physical capability, not as a replacement for it." A junior Zeltari officer rushed into the room and whispered urgently to Fleet Commander Varn. The commander's four eyes widened. "What is it?" Sam asked. Our orbital sensors have detected something approaching the island at high speed. Multiple somethings moving through your atmosphere. Greg checked his phone. Military jets. They're probably coming to establish a more secure perimeter. The Zeltari visibly relaxed, but Varn turned to his subordinate. Maintain alert status. Activate defensive screens as a precaution. As the officer hurried away, Alan couldn't help but notice how differently the aliens were behaving now. Cautious, vigilant, constantly scanning their surroundings. The easy confidence they had shown upon first landing was completely gone. Outside, the sun was setting again over Komodo Island. Somewhere in the forest, the dragon that had changed Earth's first contact with alien life was likely digesting its evening meal, unaware of its new role in interstellar diplomacy. Inside the research station, humans and aliens alike were coming to terms with a new understanding, and the knowledge that first impressions, especially across the Gulf of Stars, could be dangerously deceptive. 1 month after the incident on Komodo Island, Alan, Sam, and Greg stood at the edge of a vast compound in the Nevada desert. The Zeltari had worked quickly, establishing their single Earth base in the remote location. The facility gleamed silver, under the harsh sun, surrounded by multiple security perimeters. Hard to believe it's only been a month, Sam said, adjusting her sunglasses. They build fast. Greg nodded. Having advanced technology helps. The president is pleased with the progress of relations despite the rocky start. Alan watched as a Zeltari shuttle descended from the sky, landing smoothly on a pad near the main building. Any word on Officer Maz? Still recovering on their orbital station, Sam replied. The Earth bacteria in his system caused complications. They've had to develop new treatments specifically for him. A small vehicle approached from the compound, driven by a human but carrying Ambassador Kroll in the passenger seat. The ambassador looked different now. His once shimmering blue skin was duller, and he wore what appeared to be light armor over his body. Welcome to Outpost Terra, Kroll said as he stepped out of the vehicle. We appreciate your continued assistance in this cultural and scientific exchange. They followed Kroll into the compound. Inside, humans and Zeltari worked side by side, though the aliens all wore varying degrees of protective gear. Some areas were sealed off completely, with signs indicating they were maintained at different atmospheric conditions. As you can see, we have implemented extensive biosecurity protocols, Kroll explained. Our initial oversight regarding Earth's biological threats has been addressed. The ambassador led them to a large room dominated by screens showing various Earth ecosystems, jungles, oceans, grasslands, and more. Several Zeltari scientists monitored the displays, occasionally zooming in on particular animals. This is our primary research center, Kroll said. We now study your world's fauna from a safe distance. One screen showed a pride of lions taking down a buffalo in the African savanna. The Zeltari watching it made notes on a glowing tablet. We've organized a special demonstration at your national zoo tomorrow, Sam told Kroll. A carefully controlled experience to help your people better understand Earth's biodiversity. Kroll's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. We appreciate this opportunity. Our High Command has ordered a complete reassessment of all our data on Earth species. Greg pointed to a screen showing human cities and infrastructure. I notice you're studying us more closely too. Yes, Kroll admitted. We are revising our understanding of humans as well. Your species' combination of intelligence and physical capability is unusual in our experience. A tall Zeltari in an elaborate uniform approached them. Alan recognized Fleet Commander Varn, though now his protective suit was even more substantial. Our orbital sensors have detected an interesting pattern, Varney said without preamble. Internet activity regarding the Komodo incident has increased exponentially over the past week. Something called memes are spreading rapidly. Sam tried not to smile. Yes, that's normal. Humans process significant events through humor. These memes are a good sign. People are accepting your presence in a positive way. Varn didn't seem convinced. Many of these communications refer to Earth's reptiles as defenders against alien visitors. Others suggest we should fear other Earth species even more. Is this preparing your population for conflict? No, not at all, Greg assured him. It's just humor and pride. Humans like to think our planet is special. Your planet is special, Kroll said quietly. More dangerous than we anticipated, but special nonetheless. Later that day, they toured other sections of the compound. In one laboratory, Zeltari scientists were analyzing samples of Earth foods, testing them for compatibility with their biology. We hope to eventually consume some of your world's organic matter, one scientist explained. But we must proceed with extreme caution. Even your most basic plants contain compounds that might be toxic to us. In another section, a group of Zeltari engineers studied models of Earth vehicles and infrastructure. Your technology is less advanced than ours in many areas, one engineer told Alan, but remarkably durable and adaptable to varied conditions. We are particularly impressed by your off-road vehicles designed to function in extreme environments. As they walked through a corridor, Alan noticed a large screen displaying footage of various Earth animals moving at high speeds. Cheetahs, running falcons diving, and yes, Komodo dragons charging. What's this research focus? He asked. A Zeltari scientist looked up from her console. Speed and reflex analysis. We are updating our defensive protocols based on the maximum recorded velocities of Earth predators. Sam raised an eyebrow. That seems excessive for a scientific mission. Fleet Commander Varn joined them, his steps making barely any sound despite his armored suit. It is standard procedure when exploring a Class 5 biosphere. Class 5, Greg asked. The highest danger designation in our exploration protocols, Varn explained. Previously, we had classified Earth as Class 3. After the Komodo incident and subsequent data review, that classification has been upgraded. Alan couldn't help but feel a strange pride at this news. Because of one lizard? Not just the reptile, Varn said, bringing up more images on the screen. Your world's biodiversity includes predators we had not properly assessed. Saltwater crocodiles, great white sharks, tigers, and small threats we had completely overlooked. Venomous spiders, disease-carrying insects, toxic plants. The screen changed to show a map of Earth with countless red dots scattered across it. Each of these points represents a potentially lethal biological agent or organism, Varn continued. No other world we have cataloged comes close to this density of threats. That evening, Alan stood outside the compound watching the sunset paint the Nevada desert in shades of orange and red. Ambassador Kroll joined him, his protective suit glinting in the fading light. Your planet's beauty is matched only by its dangers, Kroll observed. Alan smiled. Earth shaped us as much as we shaped it. Humans evolved alongside predators that could easily kill us. It pushed us to develop tools, cooperation, intelligence. A crucible of evolution, Kroll said thoughtfully. On our world, life evolved in more benign conditions. Perhaps that explains some differences between our species. Inside the compound, alarms suddenly blared. Kroll's communication device lit up with urgent messages. What's happening? Alan asked as they hurried back inside. A security breach, Kroll replied tensely. Something has compromised the outer perimeter. They reached the control center to find Zeltari security personnel in full battle armor. Screens showed thermal images of the compound's perimeter. Report, commanded Varn. A security officer pointed to one screen. Unknown organism breached the outer sensor grid. Small, moving erratically. The thermal image zoomed in, revealing a small creature scurrying along the ground. Alan squinted at the image, then laughed. It's a jackrabbit, a desert hare. Completely harmless. The Zeltari security team didn't lower their weapons. Confirm harmless status, Varn ordered. It's an herbivore, Sam explained, trying not to smile. It eats plants. No threat to anyone. Slowly, the Zeltari stood down from alert status, though several continued to monitor the rabbit's movements through the compound. You must understand. Our caution, Kroll said, sounding slightly embarrassed. After our experience on Komodo Island, Greg patted the ambassador's armored shoulder. It's okay. Better safe than sorry. As they left the control center, Alan couldn't help noticing that Earth's harmless jackrabbit had triggered a full security response from beings whose technology could cross the stars. The humans exchanged knowing glances. The balance of this new relationship had shifted in ways no one could have predicted, all because a cold-blooded lizard on a small island had moved faster than anyone expected. Emma stood at the edge of the small clearing, her breath coming in short, quick bursts. The forest around her seemed to close in, branches reaching like dark fingers through the misty morning. She knew something was different today. Something had changed. The backpack on her shoulders felt heavier than usual, filled with the few things she had managed to grab before leaving her old life behind. A worn map, some dried food, a small first aid kit, and the old photograph that was her only connection to the past. Her fingers touched the edge of the photo hidden deep in her jacket pocket, a nervous habit she had developed over the past weeks. 3 days had passed since she had left the small town where she grew up. 3 days of walking, hiding, and watching her back. She was not sure who was following her, but she knew someone was. The strange marks she had found near her campsite each morning were not random. They were messages, warnings. The morning sun tried to break through the thick forest canopy, creating strange patterns of light and shadow on the ground. Emma moved carefully, each step measured and quiet. She had learned to walk without making sound. She had learned many things in the past few months that she never thought she would need to know. Water was becoming a problem. Her small bottle was almost empty, and she had not found a clean stream since yesterday morning. The map showed a possible water source about 2 miles ahead, but maps could be wrong. Maps could lie. She had learned that too. A sudden sound made her stop. It was not a bird, not an animal. Something else. Something that did not belong in this quiet forest. Emma held her breath and listened. The sound came again. A soft crunch of leaves, too deliberate to be natural. Someone was moving nearby. Her hand slowly reached into her backpack, feeling for the small object she hoped she would never need to use. It was cold and heavy, a weight that scared her more than the potential danger around her. But she was prepared. She had promised herself she would do whatever was needed to survive. The forest seemed to hold its breath. No birds sang. No small animals rustled in the undergrowth. Everything was still. Emma knew this silence. It was the silence that came before something important was about to happen. She thought about her family, about the night everything changed, about the secrets that had been hidden from her for so long. Those memories pushed her forward, gave her strength when her body wanted to give up. She was not just running away, she was running towards something. Another sound. Closer this time. Emma's muscles tightened. She was ready. Whatever was coming, she would face it. She had come too far to turn back now. The forest watched. The morning mist began to lift, and somewhere in the distance, something was moving toward her.